Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Selling Portage podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and I'm joined by my co-host, Colin Doyle. Colin, how are
Hi,
you doing?
good morning, everybody, and good morning, Ryan, and welcome to the Selling Portage podcast. Oh, I was going to take my sweater off for this one because I am also wearing the Selling Portage shirt.
Oh, well, that's nice. Here we go again. It's all positives going into the intro on one of our shows because we do have a guest again. We'll talk about him in a few minutes. But what's been happening this week?
What's been happening this week? Well, we uh, we've seen a little bit of movement in the market this week. Seen some new listings pop up over the last 10 days or so. Jumped up pretty drastically from what the last couple months have been as far as new listings have gone. So that's definitely nice to see.
New listings and turnover, because the listing total number has not changed much.
Correct.
Yeah. So I saw four go up and four sell immediately. And a couple of those were my own that I put up. So it's things are happening. Things are happening.
All things positive.
Well, yes. Now, if you're in the market, you have a house, you're thinking of listing it, everybody says now's the time. Now really is the time because you're going to avoid the competition that may come as spring progresses, even though winter is making a comeback right now as we speak. But you want to get on the market not just for the spring market, but you kind of want to beat everyone else to the punch. And
Right.
the ones that are coming on right now are doing that. And the inventory is very limited in some desirable areas, Cocoa Platts, Melonville being one of them. There's just not much here unless you want to buy a brand new house.
Correct.
And
Well,
as a listing comes on, you are often getting 8 to 10 showings right away and an offer comes in,
right.
which is what
And
we just experienced.
now is we're getting to that time of year where we know that a lot of actual moves happen just after the school year, right? And so we're getting into that time of year where the houses being purchased and sold today are starting to look at that possession of just after the school year.
That's right. And what people need to realize when you're listing your house is if you're looking to move when the school year is over, the time to list is now. Say
Correct.
that again, but there's always a month or two that needs to go by to do all the things involved with selling or buying a house. Uh, and you need to allow time for that. So if you're thinking of moving July the 1st, you want your house listed now. You don't want to be waiting until June 15th because now you're looking at a possession date probably in August.
Right. So
Yeah. So
that is good advice you're receiving here on the Selling Portage podcast with Colin Doyle and his co-host Ryan Espy.
what the hell what is wrong with you?
Nothing is wrong with me. I'm
What?
just unique.
And the Winnipeg Jets are in the playoffs. We had no doubt. I mean, they probably had enough points. They were getting in there anyway this year. The question is, how far will they go? Could they go all the way?
They could.
They haven't figured out how to beat Los Angeles yet.
Right. Earlier this week on Tuesday, they certainly laid a turd against the Kings.
Yes, they did.
I did not watch it. I was sleeping. If I'm being
Kopitar. They
fully
have
honest.
not figured out how to solve that riddle. And that is the one team that seems to, well, it is the one team that has consistently beat them 3 times this season. Every time they have met, LA has come out on top. And I have been to 2 of those games, and oof, oof.
They're just a much more physical team, and the Jets are missing that a little bit. They're more
Now,
of a skill and finesse team.
that being said, they got a couple of key players that bring that.
That's right.
Like Shen didn't play last night. He's a big physical defenseman. Might have made all the difference. But who knows? I myself have secured my playoff tickets. I had to basically remortgage my house to do it, but
Well, let me know what game you want me to join you.
sure. Yeah.
Sorry,
Hopefully there are
Victoria, step
more.
aside.
Yeah. Hopefully there are more than a couple of opportunities, if you know what I mean.
I
Um,
think if it would be good advertising for the podcast if you just took me to a playoff game, everyone's wearing white except you and I are wearing our black t-shirts that say the Selling Portage podcast. I'm certain we would get on the camera.
I believe you. I believe you.
Good. So I'm
Now,
in.
we might get booed right out of that building.
If it's for the
However,
podcast, I would take it.
And pink shirt guy. Remember pink shirt guy from last year?
Pink shirt guy.
He is an anomaly because he was the first, and everyone else that comes after is just trying to get the attention that he got.
That's true.
I think we would be in deep trouble if we showed up to the playoffs in black Selling Portage podcast t-shirts, but maybe not, because you are going to have fans from the other team that are wearing their jerseys.
That's right.
So, yeah, regardless, I think we would be okay, but maybe.
Well, and if I'm with you, I'll be fine.
I will use you as a human shield to get us out of there.
Speaking of human shield, sorry, Jamie.
Yes. Introduce our guest.
Yes. So today on this Selling Portage podcast with your host, Colin Doyle and Ryan Espey, we have the one, the only water boy. Sorry, step aside, Adam Sandler, because today
You can't even get through your own intro without laughing at your own jokes. Let's go.
I always tell my wife I'm funny, and she says if you were that funny, you wouldn't have to say it every time you made a joke. So, but what does she know? So, anyways, today we have the one, the only Portage water boy from Blue Moon Water, Mr. Jamie Bernard.
Awesome. And here he is.
Jamie Bernard, welcome to the Selling Portage podcast. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you, Ryan and Colin?
I'm doing pretty well. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. So, Jamie, I've known you for a while. We went to high school together.
We did.
We did. Arthur Meehan, represent.
I think I'm the first Arthur Meehan alumni on the podcast.
Oh, you might be, actually. Let's see. Preston said he was PCI. Caitlin, I believe, was not from here, she said.
Caitlin was Winnipeg, I think.
Yeah, you might be our first Arthur Meehan alum on the podcast. So welcome. So you've seen the podcast. You're one of our many, many viewers. You know our format. What? Did I say something funny?
You not at all, Colin. For the millions of people watching around the world.
Yes.
Hello.
So since we've taken this worldwide, Jamie, you know the format. Take us back to the day that Jamie Bernard was born. Where were you born? Where are you from? Give us the whole Jamie Bernard history.
Okay, so I was not born here. I was born in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia.
Whoa.
Lived there for a few years, then relocated with my parents to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island.
East Coaster.
And then, back up, hold on. New Glasgow, then to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia for 3 or 4 years, and then Charlottetown, and then moved to Portage La Prairie when I was finishing up grade 4. So it would have been May of 1995.
Okay. So you're one of the original trailer park boys.
Yes, we could go that way.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one yet. Maybe we'll figure that out at the end of the podcast. So then attended Fort Lorraine School for the end of grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. Went to Prince Charles for 7 to 9. And then Arthur Meehan for 9 to 12. Or 10 to 12, sorry.
Okay.
So you went to Prince Charles and then switched to Arthur Meehan. That seems like an interesting choice with PCI being right there across the road.
It was mainly due I enjoyed the semester system more.
Me too.
Oh, did PCI not have semester system?
They did not.
Really? I was unaware.
It's not the only thing you're unaware of, but we won't go there.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so
And I lived not far from PCI, but I did attend Arthur Meehan for the 3 years.
okay, so you went to Arthur Meehan. Then what? Then young Jamie turned 18.
I was actually 18 for the second half of high school, so
Or were you held back a grade?
no, back out east, it's different how you start.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this is where it'll get interesting. During high school, I also worked in the water industry, I'll say,
Okay.
for the competitor. And then out of high school, like everyone else, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So my first year off of not going to university turned into 32 years off, or no, 22 years off. So I just decided to work, and then would have been September 2003. I started at Blue Moon Water, and then I did like a lot of people do, moved away, but still worked there. Lived in Winnipeg for a while, and then currently living back in Portage.
Okay. So you were an employee at Blue Moon before
I
you
was started
purchased.
with an employee and then bought it in May of 2009.
Okay. Oh, so you've had it for a while then. 15-year anniversary.
Well, I worked
Coming
there
along.
since 03, so do the math on that one.
That's too much for me.
Hmm.
Interesting. And so you're married, and you and your wife did move back to Portage last year, correct?
We're in our third year back.
Third year back. Okay.
So you were
Oh, yeah.
commuting to run the business.
Correct.
Okay.
I can tell you what, I don't miss those drives.
Oh, I bet. You mean Winnipeg to Portage isn't the most scenic drive in Canada?
The worst roads in the winter in Canada, you mean?
We're talking about highways, not city, right? So tell us a little bit about football. You're involved in the CFL.
Somewhat, yes.
Somewhat.
So I am a amateur referee. This was the first year I did not do basketball. I did basketball since 2003. This would be the first year I chose not to, but I still am actively a football official. I started that in 2011, and I currently referee U Sport and Junior, and I'm on the CFL support crew.
Okay. So what is your role with CFL then?
So basically, I'm usually either a ball personnel or on the sticks usually.
Okay. I see you at every game I attend.
I
always-
do most of the games.
Yeah. I always yell your name, but you always don't acknowledge that you know me.
Don't worry, you're not the only one.
Trying to work, Colin. You're just being a distraction.
Yeah, that's right. I know from my role with the city that you're also involved with the Portage and District Chamber. You want
Correct.
What is your role there, and how did you get involved in that?
Once I was completely back here, not that I was ever away, I came to work every day, but I wanted to get more involved, and that's one thing that I really wanted to get involved in. So I'm currently the vice president of the Chamber of Commerce and the advocacy chair.
Okay.
So do you have aspirations to move into the president's spot at some point?
Well, I will be the next president,
Right.
pending something else.
Okay.
Interesting. And you also have involvement with the PC party in Manitoba. Is that correct? Are you still involved there?
Correct. Yeah, I'm on the board of the PC party of Portage.
Of Portage. Okay. Gotcha. Excellent.
Provincially.
Okay. So, and what's your role there? Like, what does that position entail?
That's a good question. Basically, there's a board that'll I won't even say oversees. There's a board of Portage for the PC party that you attend a few meetings, and there's stuff that comes up like budgetary items for the PC party of Portage. You might vote on that.
Okay. And so, what you bought Blue Moon in 2008? You said
2009, I do believe.
2009. Okay. And what, like, this is your platform with a worldwide audience. Why does everyone laugh when I say that?
The way you say it with a big smile on your face.
To tell us what kind of services do you offer at Blue Moon Water?
Okay, where do I start? So we'll start with what's in the name, the water. So we have a retail store where we sell water. We have a full line of Keurig coffees and office coffee and equipment. We're the agent for Perth's and Portage. We're an agent for Arctic Spa's hot tub chemicals. Water we do in all sizes, 5 gallon, 3 gallon, your fridge packs, your 500 ml, which you could get custom labels on that. Maybe we'll talk about that later. You did say you were cheap though, right, Colin?
Are you you're trying to sell us advertising? Like, how good would this logo look on some water bottles?
I don't know. I'm conflicted.
I think I prefer the one off Ryan's shirt, but
yeah, it looks a little more bright and new, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like somebody sleeps in it.
I get different sunlight in here than you do. Sorry, it's
don't you block the sun because you're a ginger?
That's
I may have picked that up from another podcast, actually.
Yes. So Jamie Bernard, in talking to you before commencing the filming of this podcast, you told me you had some questions for us. Now this is new for us because we've never had a guest ask us questions on the podcast. Oh, you have a notebook, don't you?
Oh boy.
Somewhat. I was kind of thinking of the questions as I had to go pick up an order in Winnipeg at 6 o'clock this morning. So.
Okay. So, fire away.
Would you like a combination of real estate and council, or one or the other? Or?
It's all you. You decide what you want to ask.
I've got the floor on the podcast.
Yes,
you
do.
Thought that.
If this goes well, we may make it a weekly feature.
Oh. Either of you can start. First off, maybe some people want to know each of your backgrounds.
Holy cow, we're getting into a whole other podcast here.
Briefly.
Well, I was born and raised in Portage. I moved away after graduating Arthur Meehan High School and moved away various locations. Winnipeg, I lived at Panorama Mountain Village for a while. Came back to Portage in 2015, and I ran for council in 2022, and I have been on council ever since.
Okay, I'll try to go just as quickly as that.
I know you're a little older than Ryan, so it might take a little longer.
It's all true. Born in Thunder Bay, Ontario, moved here as a toddler. Went to Crescent View from K to 9, Arthur Meehan through high school, graduated in 1995, worked a plethora of jobs in Portage, including many nightclub positions, and did almost 20 years at Agassiz Youth Center, 19 before I quit that job and became a realtor. And then I ran for council in 2010, and I've been on ever since.
Perfect.
Okay. So since you mentioned council, Ryan, what is your favorite thing about being on council?
My favorite thing about being on council probably is just getting to have a say in all of the good things that we do and all the things that move Portage forward. The ability to make a difference and the decision-making power of council. It's kind of a maybe a weak answer in some people's eyes, but really that's what we're there to do. And when I ran for council in 2010, it was, me putting my money where my mouth is a little bit, because I had lots of complaints and I thought I could do a better job. When the time comes where I feel like maybe I can't, that's when I move on.
Okay, Colin, you're not getting the same question. What's your least favorite thing about council?
Oh.
Well, I don't want to come outright and say it, but it rhymes with Brian.
That's weak. Stop trying to be funny and just answer the question.
No, my least, I wouldn't even call it my least favorite, but there are people that that contact us, approach us while we're out in public, which I do enjoy. I do enjoy that face-to-face with people out in public. But there is a bit of a misconception as to which levels of government operate various pieces, right? And so when someone comes to me and asks me why the city continues to let out repeat offenders, etc., you have to kind of educate them as to who is in charge of those various things, right? And I wouldn't say it's my least favorite part of it, but I don't like it when the city gets kind of crapped on for things that are out of our control at the municipal level, right? The reason I say it's my least favorite, it's not my least favorite thing, is a lot of people are just blissfully unaware as to exactly how things operate, right? And so it's definitely a place to educate people as to the right pathway to get their answer, whether it's provincial or federal. Talk to your MLA, talk to your MP, because a lot of those things are out of our control at the municipal level.
And
100%.
Some of those things run right through the city. So we're in charge of snow removal, but we're not in charge of snow removal on all the roads.
Correct.
Right. That's an example of one that's easily mistaken.
Yeah. And simple things like that, are all over social media quite often. And I don't really like to engage on social media, but little things like that, I tend to engage with when it comes to snow removal on the avenue, or why hasn't the city plowed the Tupper Street overpass and stuff like that. I often provide a link. I don't actually engage with the things I, want to say sometimes.
No, because you're just going to get yourself in trouble if you do that.
Right.
Okay, so we all know Ryan's into arm wrestling and Colin's into cornhole. Tell us one thing that you're also into that people may not know.
You go ahead first, Colin.
I am really into cooking and baking. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen at home. My role as a realtor definitely leaves me a lot of time at home, and so I really enjoy cooking, making new recipes. I often go to TikTok to get various recipes and make them for my family, and some are winners and some are big fat losers.
Well, don't be afraid to drop some leftovers off sometime.
I would say just hanging out at my cabin. That's kind of one of my favorite things in the summer. So, I mean, I'm not going to be able to do I can do arm wrestling forever. It won't be at the highest level forever. So as those things dwindle, I mean, I've done lots of things over the years, but, starting to learn to relax a little bit is one of my passions now.
And so, Ryan, how long have you done real estate for?
Coming up on 9 years.
Okay, so my final question is just for Colin. So why real estate?
Why real estate? Well, so in 2022, when I was elected to city council, I wanted to be involved as much as possible. And at the time, I was working full time with Irwin Flooring, and there are a lot of meetings, a lot of things with the city that take place during the day. So when you're working a Monday to Friday job, you're a little bit limited as to what you can attend. And I really didn't want to half-ass my role on council. I had a very good employer who was very lenient with me when I was first elected. But the more and more council things that came up, I understood that they were taking me away from my day-to-day job. So in a conversation with Ryan regarding real estate, it kind of piqued my interest a little bit, and I looked into it a little further and decided that a career shift was in my future. At the time, my wife, she had just finished her college for the position she wanted to get into, and so she had her time to make her career change, and now it was my time. And I've never looked back. I love real estate, and I love the schedule because, as Ryan can attest to, some days we are running and gunning from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed, and other days we've got a bit of free time on our hands, and it's nice to not have to go to bed knowing that the next morning you're going to wake up and do the exact same thing you did before, because a day in the life of a real estate agent is never, ever the same than the day before.
That's a good answer, Colin.
Thank you.
Very, very good answer.
Yes. I'm pretty good at most things.
Now, Ryan, are you regretting the decision to bring him on board?
Not at all. Not at all. The one thing that was lacking when I first switched, okay, well, I'll be maybe a little off the rails here. I'll say the one thing that's been lacking in my real estate career up until the last few years was, a real sense of team that came with it. So now in Portage, we've got Colin, Andrew, and Brady and myself. So there's 4 of us, and there's a lot of, and we all work together, and we all kind of push each other to get better and move forward. So it's a nice team dynamic where if one of us can't do something, there's someone else willing to pick it up for us. So the one thing that realtors always joke about is if you want to get busy, you go on vacation. Well, now we can actually do that without having to, be in trouble with our families because we're on our laptop in the middle of Mexico somewhere.
But if you need to do that for an hour, you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But there's boots on the ground stuff back here. We've always got each other covered.
Thank you for the questions, Jamie.
Yeah, that's interesting. We haven't had questions like that. We do have a few more for you, though.
We do. So first and foremost, I will ask you, what is something that you could tell us that would surprise a lot of people about yourself?
Well, you kind of touched on 2 of them already. I don't think a lot of people knew where I was born, and some people might not know of the officiating background. I can tell you one
for like skeletons.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. I definitely did not figure skate.
Oh, okay. You have been watching.
I'd say sorry, Preston, but I'm not. Some people may know this, and I'm probably gonna get made fun of for this one. So I am an avid hockey and football follower. It's funny how Preston didn't mention he's a Bills fan either, but I am a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Oh. Can you end the recording, please, Ryan?
Just fill it right here.
Yeah, I knew that about you, and that's one reason we don't hang out very often. My next question: What is your favorite book you've ever read?
Oh. So it's kind of a book. Actually, I don't have it right here, but so it's kind of a book.
Mad Magazine?
No, yeah. It changes every few years when there's changes to it, but it would be the Football Canada amateur rule book for rules and playing regulations.
Okay, so something actually applicable to your life.
Correct.
You don't read for fun. You're like me.
No.
The last actual book that I've actually chosen and sat down and read on my own accord was about 15 years ago. So
I'm probably longer than that. Well, when did I graduate? That's probably the last textbook I might have looked at.
And it was Slash's autobiography from Guns N' Roses. So sounds like you're a little more like me. You're not a big book guy, but what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I actually don't watch a ton of them, and I would have to say, and probably The Water Boy.
Good God, man! Wait till you see the intro.
I said Adam Sandler's got nothing on this guy.
That's really funny. That's high quality H2O.
And my final question of the day, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So I don't have this word for word, and I may have known this question was coming. So basically, from a few different people throughout my time, is the amount of effort you want to put in will be hingent on the results you get.
I like that. And that's very applicable, right? If you think you can skate through something without the effort, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. I dig that. It's a good one, Jamie.
That was good.
Any questions for Jamie, Ryan?
Maybe just some business related stuff before we get off of here. So you mentioned Keurig and stuff like that. Do you actually provide machines to people?
So we provide machines. It's mostly offices, but we provide Keurig machines or bun machines, any office coffee machines to businesses, as long as they're buying the product from Blue Moon.
So you can provide those machines to an office. They can just rely on you for their coffee needs, all that stuff, and the machine's taken care of, and they just buy the consumable product that they use from you, and it's all taken care of seamlessly.
Correct.
That's a good service, and it's one that I only learned about recently because I heard somebody talking about getting a coffee maker in their office.
Would that have been did you hear about that in your own household, or?
I cannot say.
No, I didn't know that actually. I knew through my years at Irwin Flooring, Jamie would show up every couple of weeks and provide us with coffee and stuff, but I didn't know the machine was a toss and as part of the service of just continuing to buy the product itself. So.
And you're also selling bottled water, obviously, but you do a subscription service. Like, do you deliver it right to people's houses?
Yeah, we deliver right to people's houses. I wouldn't call it a subscription service. Some people are on a schedule, and some people just call when they need.
Okay, so that's another service that's available. So people don't have to worry about going down there and getting it. It just brings convenience to them.
Correct, yeah. And some people like to be on a schedule. Some people just like to kind of call when they need it.
Okay.
And ice.
Yeah, I actually forgot about the ice. And we're starting to, hopefully, the snow can go away and we can get into spring and summer.
Where people need it a lot more.
People need it a lot more, and we do a large chunk of ice, especially around my least favorite times in the summer, each long weekend.
Oh, yes. While everyone enjoys their long weekend and kicks back with a cold beverage, you're the one who's providing the ice to cool that beverage. So.
Whereas I'm delivering out to the campgrounds, and there's Colin sitting on his chair, and I'm working away.
Well, as they say, you got to make hay when the sun shines.
Perfect. Okay. I had a little glitch. I don't know if it was my internet or somebody else's, but I didn't catch that last part.
Probably yours. Probably yours.
Yeah.
Or you muted it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And thank you for the questions. I kind of enjoyed answering some questions when I had zero information ahead of time. So those are some good questions, and you actually gave Ryan and us a bit of an opportunity to get people to know us a little more, because I don't know if we've actually gotten into our stories or not, Ryan. I can't remember back to 17 episodes ago or last week.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We appreciate your water. I know I get it at my house, and please don't hesitate to continue making that delicious water.
No, thank you for having me on. I'm sure next week's guest will even have be a better guest than I was, but I guess
You were excellent.
I guess you'll have to tune in next week to find out who that person is.
That's right.
Jamie, we appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Have a good day, guys.
You too.
You as well.